name is Morgan Rose. I'll be graduating from the University of Minnesota Duluth in May with an International Studies degree as well as an American Indian Studies degree. My presentation today is on small-scale mushroom farming, which obviously is not what I went to school for, but is, as you will see, a passion of mine. This presentation will last about 10 minutes. First, I will speak about mushrooms and their importance. Second, I will inform you on what a mushroom farm is and what it all entails. And last, I will explain my vision for a mushroom farm. At the end of my presentation, there will be time for your questions and comments. So first, I would like to start off by saying that there are many different ways to grow mushrooms and many different types of mushrooms to grow. I will be speaking mostly about oyster mushrooms and then growing them by cloning them. I will explain that a little bit later. So according to mushroomidea.co.uk, China is the world's leading producer of mushrooms with 70% of the global production. The United States comes in second. And according to hobbyfarms.com, less than 300 growers produced last year's U.S. crop. Those less than 300 growers produced over 800 million pounds of mushrooms. And also half of the 300 are located in Chester County, Pennsylvania. So why grow mushrooms? Well, I've noticed lately that there's been an increase in popularity of mushrooms. They're very desirable, especially gourmet mushrooms, such as oyster, shiitake, bolete, or morel. You see a lot of varieties popping up in the stores. Every time I go, I feel like I see something new, and I think it's really cool because I really like mushrooms. But they're also a high-value crop. The current wholesale prices range from $3 to $7 per pound, sometimes even more for mushrooms such as shiitake. Oyster mushrooms can sell for around $6 per pound and are fairly easy to grow. The price of the mushroom depends on where you would sell them. You could sell them wholesale at local farmers markets or even local restaurants. They love to have local product if they can. Mushrooms also grow quickly with high yields. Depending on the mushroom and the way that you go about growing it, a mushroom can be harvested within 2 months, which is relatively quick compared to most vegetables. Some varieties, such as shiitake, take a little longer because, like for shiitake, you have to grow them in logs. Well, mostly they're grown in logs, and the mycelium needs to run throughout the log. So that can take up to a year. But they are very desirable and expensive. Also, 1 gallon of substrate will produce about 1.7 pounds of oyster mushrooms per week. Mushrooms are constantly growing, and if you have a mushroom farm, you'll always have mushrooms in different stages to ensure the continual production. The size of your substrate determines the amount of flushes you will receive. And flushes, basically mushrooms can grow and you can pick them and they will still continue to grow. So you can get multiple flushes from one bag of substrate. Also, there are many levels of production. There is industrial, which would be large scale, small scale, which is in between industrial and a personal scale, and then there's personal use, which would include mushroom growing kits that can be bought online or in stores, or just your own really small scale production. So, even on a small scale, mushrooms can be profitable. 100 square foot growing area can produce around 2,500 pounds a year. And if you're selling at $6 a pound in a 100 square foot growing area, you can profit about $15,000 a year. Mushrooms are also good for us as well as our environment. They are nutritional and medicinal. They are a good source of vitamins, minerals, and proteins, and some even contain cancer-fighting properties. And then some, such as shiitake, even have anti-tumor and antiviral properties. Mushrooms can also be good for our environment as well to help clean up waste. They can grow on agricultural waste, such as sawdust, spent coffee grounds, cardboard, corn cobs, sugar beets, and even industry waste from cotton mills, slaughterhouses, paper factories, etc. So what is a mushroom farm and what does it entail? Well, a mushroom farm is a controlled area. The temperature, humidity, and light and airflow must be controlled. And in the mushroom farms are rows of inoculated product on wire racks. Wire racks are useful because they allow air and mushroom growth from the bottom, as well as the top and sides. Different types of substrate in which these mushrooms can be grown on are sawdust, straw, logs, and some of the ones I even mentioned before. There's also a lot of steps to get the mushrooms to this point. So, starting off, the way that I want to go about it is I want to clone my own mushroom. So I would take a petri dish with agar, grab a fresh mushroom, cut out a portion of the mycelium, grow it on the agar until it runs throughout the agar. Then I would like to sterilize grain and mix the mycelium with the grain, let that grow, and then eventually sterilize a compost such as straw, and then mix the grain throughout the straw, put the straw into bags, allow that to grow, and then kind of like this here, and then you would cut slits into the bag to allow airflow, and once the airflow is there, it'll allow the mushrooms to grow. And then from there they grow and you can harvest them when the caps have turned slightly downwards. Alright, so my vision for my mushroom farm. I would like to have a 100 square foot growing area in a greenhouse, preferably at my mother's house. It would have 8 sets of metal racks that would hold 8 sets of metal racks, 4 feet in length by 1 foot wide and 7 feet tall. Each rack would hold 4 cubic foot bags of inoculated spawn times 4 for each rack. In total, there would be 128 bags going at one time. So the main equipment that I would need for my project would be a greenhouse, wire shelving, fans, humidity control, jars, bags, straw, and a few other items, such like for sterilizing and stuff like that. And the estimated total cost of my project is $2,500, which is a relatively small investment when a 100 square foot growing area can produce up to $15,000 a year. So in conclusion, mushroom sales are up, especially for gourmet mushrooms. They are also profitable, there's an abundance of health benefits, and they are useful to our environment as well. They're relatively easy and quick to grow, and a small mushroom farm can be very profitable and produce up to 2,500 pounds a year. There's only 300 mushroom farms in the United States. What do you say we make it 301? Does anyone have any questions?